Tonight, Donald Trump claims a historic US election victory, declaring he will make America great again.
Glasgow's flying as a historic home explodes south of Adelaide.
Fists fly as an SA shopping centre scuffle is caught on camera.
Her trunk is packed when Burma the elephant will touch down in Adelaide.
And the Aussie billionaire who jetted into Adelaide to help those doing it tough.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Rosanna Mangiarelli and Will Goodings.
Good evening. Donald Trump has just claimed victory on one of the most profound and historic days America has ever seen.
US Bureau Chief David Woodward begins our coverage.
After all the madness of this marathon campaign,
Pennsylvania.
And for all the flag waving and slogans about how great America is or could be again, the truth is this country is
and I'm not sure this will fix it.
and the wounds run deep.
It's a very important election, a life-changing election.
I think today he is probably the most popular person in the world, wouldn't you say?
Wow, that's a big call.
Yeah, absolutely, and I believe it 100%.
I think he's trying to destroy the country.
As a woman, I feel like she cares about me a lot more than Donald Trump.
Election and city officials had feared voting violence and were ready for anything.
We don't need no more riots, no more nothing. So I picked Kamala, and plus she's going to be the first black female president.
I think this is an easy one to predict. I think he wins, and he wins by a moderate landslide.
I've done my research on Donald Trump, and I know he's not a good person.
Today I voted for Donald Trump, and I really disagree with all of his policies.
Booth after booth, in state after state, Americans exercise their most fundamental right, choosing their president.
Women's rights, definitely that. Just the common sense aspect of this entire situation.
Abortion, of course, is women's rights. That's a big one for me.
And for the rest of us, crowning the leader of the free world.
I'm here just to make it too big to rig.
And after trying to squeeze every last vote out of the day.
You did, thank you.
Donald Trump convinced he'd done enough.
We went in with a very big lead today, and it looks like Republicans have shown up in force.
But thank you for all of your support.
They're going to be watching, make sure there's no cheating.
The former president declaring on social media a lot of talk about massive cheating in Philadelphia, law enforcement coming, but it was a furphy.
I certainly don't want any violence, but I certainly don't have to tell. These are great people. These are people that believe in no violence.
The day wasn't without drama, with bomb scares in Georgia, seemingly from Russia.
That Georgia's not going to be intimidated. The Russia has just decided they picked on the wrong Georgia.
And some voters didn't know where to go in Wisconsin.
I most definitely be lost. Trying to figure out where I go.
Until they worked it out.
Take a breath. Everything's okay.
Generally, the election day vibe started upbeat. For younger, first-time voters, it was all about the selfie.
Voting!
And in hurricane-ravaged North Carolina, everything is temporary and traumatic right now, but they find spirit.
We have a lovely, beautiful tent. It's huge.
They were praying for Kamala Harris as far away as India.
We feel generally proud. We'll feel proud if she comes to power.
As the whole world then turned in for the count.
This is the moment where we move from those months of speculations to actual results.
The target, 270 electoral college votes, divided among the states based on population.
NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win in Kentucky tonight. Let's move to Vermont. NBC News projects that Vermont will go in the Kamala Harris column this evening.
Unlike almost everything else in this wild race, early counting seemed to go to script.
And here's the map to show us where we are on that road to 270. That puts Donald Trump out front with 168. Harris with 62 now.
Donald Trump taking a big early lead thanks largely to rusted-on Republican territories, but the ultimate prize was always buried in 7 swing states.
So if she can take North Carolina, the Trump team gets much more nervous and the Democrats become much more optimistic because she's won out east. If she can win in the Midwest and pick off a state out west or hold it, she's going to be the president.
Right now, she's playing defense. The Trump team is very confident that Georgia and North Carolina are going to go their way. You definitely think the Trump team has momentum here.
But we have a long night to go. There are a lot of votes left to count, and we still have a lot of states left to declare.
I'm a little nervous, but I feel like Kamala can pull through.
Then the bombshell on social media. Donald Trump's billionaire mate, Elon Musk, claimed victory, declaring game, set and match long before anyone else dared.
I'd rather be in Trump's camp than Harris's camp. It's certainly trending towards Trump.
The Harris House of Cards seemed to be buckling.
This is my 7th presidential election. I would observe that when campaigns go silent, that's generally not a positive sign.
I think that the Harris-Biden team has no one to blame but themselves for these numbers. That Biden-Harris people pushed them into Trump's open arms.
But no one was giving up a thing. The margins so thin and so tight they'd still need a crowbar to split them.
CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina.
That was a hammer blow for Kamala Harris, the first of the battleground states to fall. Her millions of supporters were being told to go home.
I want to say good evening to all of the Harris campaign, the campaign family. Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for being We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the Vice President tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow.
A no-show at her own party. Tonight's result has already sparked something of an internal Democrat Party witch hunt, with much of that blame now focused on President Biden and his refusal to drop out of this race until a very late stage, they say, only set his deputy up for failure.
I'm just over today. I'm over this whole election, like I'm sure the rest of America is.
Hopefully the country will unite and support the president, whoever that may be.
Right now, that looks like Donald Trump, the Republican king, on the brink of what would be the most remarkable resurrection.
Trump forever! MAGA, 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 MAGA!
In Washington, D.C., David Woywood, 7 News.
Well, let's head to Donald Trump's headquarters in Palm Beach, Florida. US correspondent Tim Lester is there. Tim, he's pulled off the greatest comeback in American politics.
Yes, Rosanna, consider the situation a little less than 4 years ago when he left the White House, twice impeached, shunned by American voters, shunned by the leadership of the Republicans, his own party. All of those charges, 34 felonies, proven in the years since. None of it has seemed to even dent him. In fact, if anything, it ultimately strengthened him and set up this extraordinary welcome that he received in the conference hall behind me a little earlier on.
Frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country. We made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
You can love him or hate him. Some here are suggesting he's now the preeminent American politician of the last century. That's a fair bit of hyperbole, but there's no doubt that he's pulled off the comeback of American history.
Explosion shook their homes as shattered glass flew across the street.
5 a.m. at Wollonga, an Aldinga roadhouse is blown to bits.
I heard a massive bang. I thought it was lightning because I felt the room shake.
I heard this massive explosion. It was quite a large bang. My whole house shook.
It looks like the whole house just went kaboom.
Neighbours ran outside to see the vacant rental home roofless and ablaze.
We just saw the flames coming out of the roof, so we gathered it had been an explosion because the roof was missing and flames were shooting up.
The whole roof blown off. Most of it's out the front now, a massive hole in the roof. It looks all shattered, there's glass all over the road.
Some residents were evacuated for their safety.
You don't want to breathe that in case it's asbestos. Yeah, come away. Come away, it's a very old house, it could be asbestos.
I grabbed my phone and then we pretty much just got out straight away. Mum grabbed the passports.
24 firefighters raced to the scene and battled the inferno. It took them half an hour to bring it under control, but by then the historic property was gutted. Detectives door-knocked neighbours looking for CCTV. The property was originally a funeral business for local undertaker Charles Brown. More recently, it was rented out to a man who moved out earlier this year, and neighbours say the power was cut off in August. Damage to the home is estimated at $500,000. Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
Police are investigating a wild brawl inside a Whyalla shopping
obtained exclusively by 7 News shows the moment the violence broke out inside a Cheapers Chips in Whyalla just before 4:30 yesterday afternoon. I've spoken to the man involved who says he was trying to protect staff who were allegedly being harassed by the teenage boy. But when he asked the 14-year-old to leave the shop, things turned ugly. The man's kicked in the stomach, his shirt ripped off and his face left bloodied and bruised as the pair wrestled to the ground. The mother of the boy claims he was unfairly targeted, but what exactly sparked the fiery fight will now be for police to decide. The man says he can't walk after dislocating his ankle during the scuffle. The teen didn't require medical treatment. Police were called and are investigating, but at this stage, no one has been charged. Rosanna.
All right, thank you, Hannah. A man's been committed to stand trial accused of administering methamphetamine to his girlfriend, who was later found dead in her Redwood Park home. Ethan Ross today pleaded not guilty to the charge, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. It's alleged he injected Amy Bowden with the drug to reverse the effects of a heroin overdose. Prosecutors say a second man, Henry Cox, supplied the meth. He's yet to enter a plea.
Authorities have now seized more than $5 million worth of illegal tobacco and vapes in South Australia. The latest raids have been focused on regional areas, and it's hoped tough new laws will act as a further deterrent.
Rows of neatly stacked cigarette cartons, bags of tobacco and vapes. $450,000 worth of illegal products seized in just one raid in the state's mid-north.
These efforts have made a serious dent in this battle against organised crimes particularly.
Which has seen a series of tit-for-tat arson attacks across Adelaide.
Our message to organised crime when it comes to illegal tobacco is you are not welcome in South Australia.
Close to 20 inspections have been carried out in regional areas, both shops and trucks targeted. Raids across the state have now netted more than $5 million worth of illicit products.
We're drawing a line in the sand, telling organised crime that what they have been doing is not welcome behaviour in South Australia, and we'll be taking every step to make sure it's dealt with appropriately.
It's hoped harsh new penalties will act as a further deterrent. Fines of up to $1.5 million now apply for those caught selling illicit products. Despite suggestions that buyers should also be targeted in the crackdown, the government has maintained that treating tobacco addiction remains a health issue rather than a criminal one.
We have no present plans to ramp up enforcement on those who, on individuals in the community who have a tobacco addiction.
Illegal tobacco and vapes can be reported on the Consumer and Business Services website. Michaela Kamarik, 7 News.
Monarto Safari Park will welcome the first of its new Asian elephants next week. In what will be an incredibly delicate operation, Burma will be flown here from Auckland. That's where Rosanna had the pleasure of meeting her earlier this year. Burma is the first of 5 elephants that'll eventually form a herd at Monarto, but she'll be in quarantine for a month before visitors can meet her. I bet that was a thrilling experience.
Yeah, cannot wait to have her here though. She's had a lot of practice in her crate, so here's to a safe journey. Good on you.
It'll be great to see. The new way Adelaide families are farewelling their loved ones. The exclusive details coming up next.
Also, migrant criminals freed from ankle monitors and curfews. Details on a bombshell High Court decision.
Earning money by going undercover and spying on businesses. We'll tell you how.
And the billionaire spotted handing out Christmas cheer to Adelaide shoppers doing it tough.
We all want our loved ones' memories to live on after they die. Now, a southern suburb cemetery is helping make that a reality, offering living memorials, allowing ashes
legacy.
Traditionally, people will bring flowers to a grave. Well, here you become the flower, and that changes the connection point to how you're remembered.
Our research has shown that people are looking for an environmentally sustainable memorial option.
While the living memorials are already offered in some states, Centennial Park Cemetery will become the first for SA. Around 50 people have so far registered their interest.
I reckon, yeah, I'd support that. I sort of think it's rather lovely.
And when the family come in, they're part of the process of putting the ashes into the hole, treating them with living microbes so that the person's life can live on through nature.
Treating the ashes makes them safe for the environment and transforms them into micronutrients.
Human ashes have the same pH as bleach and oven cleaner. It's almost 1 million times too high for most plants and soil.
The living memorial and a ceremony will set you back $9,500. The cost of cremation isn't included. Here at Centennial Park Cemetery, 100 of these places will be offered to begin with, but as demand grows, so will the number of memorial garden beds.
It'll be available for people to reserve in advance and for anyone who does have ashes that they've been keeping at home.
Ashley Kanowski, 7 News.
A man has pleaded guilty to his part in the state's second largest cocaine bust. Yusuf Al-Assadi was one of 2 men arrested over the seizure in February. Police say $45 million worth of the drug was smuggled into SA, hidden in luxury buses. The buses were driven to Mansfield Park, the pair then taking dummy drugs back to their hotel. He and his co-accused, who has already pleaded guilty, will return to court next month.
The High Court has ruled against the Albanese government's ankle bracelet and curfew regime for former immigration detainees. But Labor was prepared for the result. The Home Affairs Minister now set to introduce new laws to work around the decision.
Around Parliament's Christmas tree, the impression of goodwill. Very good. High spirits soon dissolving as the High Court brings the Albanese government to another low point, ruling the ankle bracelets and curfews imposed on 224 criminal detainees released under another High Court ruling last year that ankle bracelets and curfews are punishment, something under the separation of powers only the courts can deliver and not Parliament's.
Parliament could create new legislation which was much more specific and tighter and directed at a particular purpose that didn't amount to a punitive purpose.
The government moving immediately to do that with a new regulation reimposing the curfews and ankle bracelets and legislation giving it increased powers to deport those detainees it can.
The regulation will be dealt with today, the legislation will be introduced tomorrow.
Perth grandmother Ninette Simons, allegedly bashed by one of the released detainees, is shocked.
I think
to be overturned. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Plans have been unveiled for a new ambulance station at Marion. The $9 million facility will be built on the site of the current station on Sturt Road, which is one of the oldest and busiest in the state. It'll be demolished next year, with crews temporarily relocated.
It's a station which is pokey, which doesn't fit the needs for our modern paramedic service.
Whilst there will be some challenges with relocating and some impact on the crews that have to work here, overall we're really comfortable that we'll be able to manage it.
The new station should be finished by late 2026.
After a record-breaking start to the festival, Ausasia's set for a massive final weekend.
Amelia joins us now, and Amelia, there's plenty to see and do over the coming days.
Well, that's right. Of course, we've got the Lucky Dumpling Market over in Elder Park, but here at the Festival Centre in just a few minutes, hit show Paw Paw's Big Fat Surprise Wedding will debut. It stars Ko Ching-mun. You might recall her from the movie Crazy Rich Asians. We're told the audience gets involved and they enjoy a 4-course dinner as well. Also here at the Festival Centre is Ausasia's Writers' Festival, a weekend of words. There are a number of free events, and if you do come down and visit, check out this, the Tanabata Star Village. Now, it's a nod to a Japanese tradition where you write down a wish like peace in the world, or we've even got a win in netball here, and you cast it out into the universe. I also saw a wish for lollies. I don't mind that one, guys. I'll be back with a look at the forecast very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Amelia. Now, the Aussie billionaire who flew his private jet to Adelaide to hand out vouchers to those doing it tough. That story's next.
Also ahead, concerns for Queen Camilla, who's pulled out of public engagements.
An Adelaide identity linked to a mafia drug ring farewelled at Flinders Park under the watchful eye of federal police.
And getting paid to shop and eat out, the undercover mission anyone can do.
There was a heavy police presence today at the Adelaide funeral of a man linked to a massive mafia drug ring. Under the watchful eye of federal police, mourners poured into the Flinders Park funeral of Carmelo Lopretti. The 66-year-old mechanic died after a battle with cancer. He was accused of trying to smuggle one of the largest cocaine shipments through Italy to Melbourne. The charges, though, were later dropped.
Christmas has come early for hundreds of South Aussie families thanks to a flying visit by a Melbourne billionaire. Adrian Portelli played Santa, giving away thousands of dollars worth of gift vouchers at Adelaide shopping centres today.
A rock star welcome for a self-made billionaire.
Can I give you something? Oh, it's a candle I made.
Oh, thank you. Adrian Portelli, known as the Lambo guy, here to hand out $150,000 in supermarket vouchers.
Absolutely wonderful. My husband's going to be so jealous of me right now.
What did you get?
$200 Coles voucher.
A lot of these people have supported me over the years, so it's time, I'm happy to give back.
After posting on social media last night, the 35-year-old drew massive crowds at Manapara and Port Adelaide shopping centres today.
It just shows how desperate, some people are now. It's hard times, so happy to get out here and help.
Portelli's wealth came from a loyalty program app that offers retail discounts and massive giveaways. He famously bought Melbourne's most expensive penthouse and had a rare McLaren craned all the way up to the 57th floor.
Yeah, it's amazing. He shows what a great man he is, and he's here, and there's that many people turned up to see him, so it says a lot about him.
Over the next month, Adrian will be flying around the country giving even more Aussies some early Christmas cheer, so I offered to help.
Yeah, you need to come to Melbourne, let's go.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
This is the life, Portelli. Next stop, Sydney, give out some more vouchers.
I could get used to this. Mitchell Sariovsky, 7 News.
Buckingham Palace has announced Queen Camilla is unwell and doctors have ordered her to rest. The news came as another royal arrived in Sydney, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, opening up about her health.
Another crowning moment in a morning made for the kids. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, proving the youngest audiences can be the hardest, even for royalty.
No, boring. Yes, boring.
With a group of child patients and ambassadors promoting her latest book and the world-leading work of the Children's Medical Research Institute in Western Sydney.
This is groundbreaking.
Finding treatments for kids with genetic diseases.
For anyone who's out there really thinking that, oh, they're so alone, you're not alone.
For Sarah Ferguson, this tour and her ongoing global health campaign are personal. She was recently diagnosed with breast cancer, then malignant melanoma. Then, of course, there's the cancer diagnoses of King Charles and Princess Kate, both diagnosed with undisclosed cancers.
I know that feeling of fear. I know that feeling where you think that there are no solutions.
She was reluctant, though, to offer any comment on the health of Queen Camilla, the 77-year-old diagnosed with a chest infection on her way back from her Australian tour. The Duchess undeterred.
Australia's my second home. I love coming here.
Ending the day visiting Westfield Bondi to honour those caught up in the stabbing tragedy.
And I really wanted to go back there today to remember the families and to say you're not alone.
Chris Reason, 7 News.
A Victorian family who took a punt on Knight's Choice in the Melbourne Cup is now more than $3 million richer. They somehow picked the next 3 places and ended up paying off their mortgage before going to bed.
At $81 to win, Knight's Choice was a major roughie in yesterday's Melbourne Cup.
Knight's Choice, warp speed, they hit the line.
But one Victorian family not only backed the Aussie gelding for first place, they also correctly picked the next 3 horses, winning $3.2 million on a $100 bet.
A very humble family, very likeable. They said this has definitely changed their life.
The money was paid into their account within an hour, and last night they paid off their mortgage.
The wife, she spent the night folding washing and making kids lunches. She was very insistent that life goes on as per normal.
In Barnsdale, a local pensioner rolled the dice on a $24 mystery bet and took home $728,000.
Lovely guy, he's a regular.
The biggest cup winners are the bookies who cashed in on countless losing bets. One unlucky punter lost $133,000 on the favourite Buckaroo. Another farewelled $75,000 on top pick Vauban. And no joy for a third tipster with a $30,000 bet on Zardozi.
Well, only 1.5% of the hold was for the winner Knight's Choice, so it had a little bit of Prince of Penzance and Michelle Payne about it.
Bethan Yeoman, 7 News.
Wow, we're talking big money both in and out there.
$3 million.
Well, wouldn't that be nice? Now, Captain Dave Warner, didn't think we'd hear that, Soda.
No, not after the Sandpaper Gate saga many years ago. We got that life ban from a leadership position. Well, coming up, it's been lifted, so he'll be leading the Thunder in the BBL. He's also endorsed a successor to fill the test spot he left open. South Australia's domestic cricket resurgence continues with a dominant performance over the Vicks and some early track work for Crow's son of a gun as he prepares for his shot at top flight footy. Hello again. David Warner has endorsed SA skipper Nathan McSweeney as the man to fill the test spot he left vacant. Warner's been named skipper of Sydney Thunder after Cricket Australia lifted his Sandpaper Gate leadership ban.
As Australia looks for the next David Warner, the old one thinks it should be Nathan McSweeney.
Looks a complete player. I think he's a good fit with Uzi at the top of the order, but leadership potential as well. He's leading South Australia.
Now free to return to his own leadership duties, Warner took the reins for the Sydney Thunder today, 2 weeks after his ban was lifted and 6 years after Sandpaper Gate threatened to tarnish his legacy for good.
What was done, always, forever. That was probably going to be on my CV. The punishment that was handed down was there for a reason, and I thoroughly accept that.
In Adelaide today, Josh Inglis is Australia's new white ball captain. The English-born keeper-batsman told by selector George Bailey he'd take charge in the T20 series against Pakistan.
He mentioned about maybe working on my Australian accent too, which is a nice little gag from George.
He'll also skipper Australia in the final ODI with Test stars like Cummins, Stark and Labuschagne to rest up after Friday's Pakistan clash at Adelaide Oval. His next goal, replacing SA star star Alex Carey in the Test team.
It's not a rivalry. I think keepers always seem to look after each other, and we're a bit of a group together. So no, it's good to see him doing well, but obviously I'd like to get into that side at some point.
Josh Money, 7 News.
Still cricket, and twin tons from Mackenzie Harvey and Daniel Drew have led South Australia to a stunning one-day win over Victoria. The pair's unbeaten 209-run partnership enabled SA to reach the target with more than 12 overs to spare. Fresh off being added to the Aussie one-day squad, Spencer Johnson took an impressive 4 for 46. Vic skipper Peter Hanscom's century helped set a target of 287 at Karen Rolton Oval. And SA opener Mackenzie Harvey made his first one-day ton playing against his old side.
A bottom edge has gone down to the boundary to bring up 100 for Mackenzie Harvey.
Daniel Drew also brought up an emotional century. The win moves SA up to second on the ladder. Well, Crows son of a gun Tyler Welsh has joined his future teammates on the track. Still a couple of weeks out from the official start to pre-season. Adelaide nominated the son of sharpshooter Scott as a father-son pick, and there were some good signs for luckless defender Wayne Miller. He was moving well after missing most of the 2024 season when he ruptured his patella tendon in his knee against Freo back in round 3. Well, Crows coach Matty Clark says revenge won't be the motivation for Friday night's qualifying final against the Kangaroos, who ended Adelaide's season last year. There's also the chance of a first ever AFLW showdown final, with Port Adelaide qualifying for its maiden major round campaign.
Yeah, let's do it. I do like the prospect. If we can get them in a final, all the better. I think it'd be great for the state, great for women's footy.
Danielle Ponta got through today's main session and looks to have recovered from an ankle injury, while the league has announced this season's grand final will be played under lights.
Growth is the number one focus. I think the girls that I've been in touch with are really excited to play under lights.
The GF will be on Saturday, November 30, and kick off at 7:15. That's Adelaide time, of course. Well, still on cloud 9 after his fairy tale Melbourne Cup win on Knight's Choice, jockey Robbie Dolan lived out another dream today.
He's the singing jockey. He just won the Melbourne Cup. It had to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robbie Dolan. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me.
Sharing a stage with another Irishman who's a handy singer, Ronan Keating, the latest pinch me moment for Robbie Dolan.
He doesn't know the words of my songs though. Highly offended.
What's next for you, Robbie? To be honest, I'm just going with the flow. I'm just winging it, and like I always do.
Same goes for the winning trainers.
Sheila, where to from now? Where do we go?
Might have breakfast, I think.
Sheila Laxon says the tale of Knight's Choice, a locally bred 100-to-1 long shot, is proof anyone can still live the Cup dream.
You don't have to be a favourite. You don't have to be from Europe. You can be an $85,000 yearling and win the Melbourne Cup for, true blue Aussies.
That $85,000 yearling was bred here in the tiny town of Walker, 90 k's east of Tamworth. Breeder Norm Baisley bought a broodmare named Midnight Pearl for $1,000 in an online auction.
Come on, Pearly. Behave.
Midnight Pearl's first 3 foals didn't win a race. Knight's Choice was her 4th.
These things will sort out what you think you know and what you don't know. They've got to have it for that. You can make it a fool of you.
Nick Markham, 7 News.
And that is our look at sport. Robbie Dolan, how good's he going at the moment? That is just brilliant, because he would have got, 5% of about 4.4 mil, so 220 grand plus, and a bit of a sing with Ronan.
Not bad for one race. He didn't know the words, though.
Yeah, he's very disappointed. That was a classic, because I heard you singing it while we were watching it.
I know the words. Thank you, Soda. Now, quitting your 9 to 5 and being paid to shop instead, it sounds like a dream for many.
More Australians are making a lucrative living out of mastering the art of mystery shopping and side hustles. Their secret weapon, smartphone apps.
It's easy cash.
Trying to make $500 in 5 days.
Relatively easy to do.
I just did a 2-minute mystery shop and got this cheesecake.
And Amy Coulston has unlocked the secret to making it work full time.
The last few months, it's been about 10 grand a month.
At 24, she's quit her 9 to 5, switching it out for a lucrative mix of mystery shopping and online side hustle. by going undercover, riding public transport, eating meals, getting beauty appointments and shopping in secret.
You get your product and you get paid for your time. You could make yourself a few $100s in a day.
The only requirements remaining discreet and reporting back to the retailer.
I had to go and buy like burgers the other day and show how they were presented to me.
You do have to write a report, and it is extensive, and we do expect detail.
Still less like work and more like play, with big benefits for your budget. Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Does sound all right. Now, Kangaroo Island's youngest and oldest residents are joining forces. We'll tell you why next.
And in the forecast, we're rounding out the week with cool conditions and a couple of showers too. I'll be back with all the details live from the Festival Centre up next.
For Adelaide's latest news and more, tune in to Will Goodings and David Pemberthy on 5AA Breakfast tomorrow morning.
Time for the weather now, and Amelia joins us again from the Festival Centre.
And Amelia, we've got more grey skies on the way tomorrow.
Rosie, we do. We could see a couple of showers tomorrow. So to brighten things up, we thought we'd check out the very colourful Tanabata Star Village that you'll find here in the foyer of the Dunstan Playhouse. It's here as part of the Oz Asia Festival, which is gearing up for a massive final weekend this weekend. And if you are heading to the Lucky Dumpling Market tonight, well, you might want to grab the jacket. It's cooling down 19 degrees in the city at the moment after a top of 22.9 this afternoon. Market tonight, well, you might want to grab the jacket. It's cooling down 19 degrees in the city at the moment after a top of 22.9 this afternoon, which comes after a mild night. It was just 17 degrees the low in the city. Now, it was cooler across the south of the state today, with thundery showers still persisting about our north, along with the heat. Moomba hit a top of 40 city at the moment after a top of 22.9 this afternoon, which comes after a mild night. It was just 17 degrees the low in the city. Now, it was cooler across the south of the state today, with thundery showers still persisting about our north, along with the heat. Moomba hit a top of 44.5 degrees, while the gauge at Longwood in the hills recorded around 5 millimetres in 24 hours. More showers are on the way too, as a high pressure system ridges in from Sydney. Sunny and a top of 33 on the way for Brisbane. Back home, we could still see the odd thundery shower about our far north. Maybe in Moomba, 36 is the forecast top there, up to 29 in Woomera and Port Augusta. The odd shower and maybe the odd rumble is still a chance further south as well. Any of those contracting further to southern coasts in the day. Port Lincoln could see a couple of showers, 21 the top there, and in Clare, 25 the top for Port Pirie, up to 24 in Kadina and Murray Bridge, 21 to 12 degrees, then a top of 22s on the way. We could see a couple of showers in the morning, but they should clear for a bit of sunshine in the afternoon. On metro waters, we're looking at variable winds. They'll tend westerly by midday, reaching up to 25 knots north of Grange in the early afternoon, with seas to 1.5 metres. Now, taking a look ahead, we could see a couple of showers on Friday morning too. A partly cloudy top of 23 on the way for Saturday, and then we warm up next week with a top of 28 expected on Monday, and at this stage, 29 the top for Tuesday and for Wednesday. Now, before I go, let's check out tonight's ray of sunshine. Generations coming together to remember. Kangaroo Island's youngest and oldest residents have handmade and planted more than 150 individual poppies ahead of Remembrance Day on Monday. The stunning display is a showcase of how generations can come together to honour those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. And would love to see that initiative spread to the mainland, guys.
Absolutely. Go on, you, Amelia. Well, that is all the news for now. We will have updates for you right throughout the evening.
From all the Adelaide 17 for now, though, it's good night.